The bunker was almost silent, but the silence did not feel safe. It felt like the world was holding its breath. Broken lights flickered on the walls, showing thick dust floating in the air. Every few seconds, the ground shook as if something heavy was walking close by. The young human engineer, Evan, hid behind a half-collapsed metal pillar, his hand pressed tightly over his mouth to keep himself quiet. He could hear his own heartbeat louder than anything else. He had been repairing an old communications tower on the moon base when suddenly alarms started screaming. The warning message said one thing: hostile life form detected. Before he could escape, the floor exploded, and he fell straight into this bunker. His leg hurt. Dust covered his clothes, and his tools were scattered everywhere. He wanted to move, to run, but the thing outside was too close. Then he heard it. Heavy breathing, like a giant animal trying to catch air. A deep growl rumbled through the darkness. Evan froze in place, not even daring to blink. A massive shadow stopped in the doorway. Even without full light, he could see the shape. Broad shoulders, thick arms wrapped in glowing armor, long hair falling around a large head. The figure ducked to enter, and the metal doorframe bent under the pressure. The alien girl warrior, Rakara, stepped inside. She was huge, at least twice the size of an average human, and weighing more than 300 pounds of raw muscle and bone. Her skin was a deep blue, and faint lines of gold pulsed along her arms, showing strange energy. Her eyes glowed like burning sunstones. Each step she took made the ground shake. Evan held his breath as she scanned the room. Her nostrils flared. She lifted her head slowly, like she could smell fear. Then her eyes snapped toward his hiding place. Evan's stomach dropped. She saw him. With a loud roar, she charged forward, her voice echoing off the broken walls. "I'll crush you, human." Evan tried to crawl away, but she moved too fast. She slammed her fist into the pillar behind him, breaking it into pieces. Metal fragments flew everywhere. Evan felt the shock go through his whole body. Before he could stand up, she grabbed him by his shirt and lifted him off the ground. Her grip was strong enough to tear metal, but she held him like he was nothing but a small toy. Her face was inches from his. Her breath was hot, but her eyes didn't look fully angry. They looked tired, unstable, like she was fighting something inside herself. Evan kicked, struggled, but she slammed him onto the floor and pinned him with one massive hand on his chest. Her voice shook as she roared again, "I should crush you." But Evan noticed something strange. Her hand was trembling. Her breathing was uneven. Sweat ran down her forehead. She looked powerful, but also sick. She tried to raise her arm to attack him, but suddenly her eyes rolled back. Her strength faded for a moment, and her large body fell forward. Evan gasped as the 330-pound alien girl collapsed directly on top of him. He couldn't move. He felt all her weight press him hard against the cold floor. She wasn't crushing him on purpose. She was unconscious. For a moment he panicked, thinking, "This is how I die, under a giant alien who hates humans." But then he heard something unexpected, a weak, broken sound coming from her throat, a whimper. She wasn't just angry. She was in pain. The lights flickered again, and Evan saw something glowing near her waist, a small device strapped to her belt. It was cracked, sparking, and releasing tiny pulses of blue energy. Maybe she wasn't here to kill him. Maybe she needed help. He pushed against her shoulder, trying to shift her weight, but it didn't work. She was too heavy. He took a deep breath and tried again, slowly turning her body enough to free one of his arms. Inch by inch, he managed to roll out from under her. His chest hurt, but he could breathe again. Evan stood up slowly, watching her. She lay on the floor unconscious, but still dangerous. Her armor glowed weakly. Her fingers twitched, and the device on her belt beeped faster like a ticking bomb. Evan stepped closer, his fear fighting with curiosity. He reached out, touched the device, and it shocked him, sending a jolt through his hand. Rakara's eyes shot open. She grabbed his wrist in an instant, her grip tight. Her voice came out low and desperate. "Fix it," Evan blinked. "Fix what?" She pointed weakly at the device. "Core, unstable. If it breaks, we both die." Evan's heart sank. She wasn't lying. He could see the energy building inside the core. Before he could speak again, the door behind them slammed shut from the outside. The storm above the moon base roared, sealing them inside. Evan and a giant alien warrior, trapped together. She looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with something he never expected. Fear. "Fix it." "Human," she whispered, And that was the moment Evan realized something shocking. The alien girl who tried to crush him needed him to survive. The bunker felt even smaller now. The walls groaned as the storm outside slammed against the broken metal structure. Dust drifted from the ceiling like silent snow. Evan kept staring at the alien girl lying on the floor, her breathing harsh and uneven. She had threatened to crush him only minutes ago. Yet now she was the one fighting to stay conscious. Her grip on his wrist wasn't strong anymore, but it was desperate. She pulled his hand toward the broken device on her belt, her voice cracking like glass. "Fix, core," she whispered again. Evan swallowed hard. He looked at the device. Its metal casing was bent. Blue sparks flickered through the cracks, and small pulses of unstable energy flashed like tiny stars. Even without alien training, he could tell one thing. If this core exploded, the blast would tear the entire bunker apart. "I can try," Evan said carefully. "But I need tools, light, I need space." Rakara's eyes narrowed. Even weak, her stare felt heavy. "You run. I crush you later." Evan almost laughed from the fear and stress mixing in his chest. "Trust me, I'm not running anywhere. The storm outside will kill me faster than you." The alien warrior grunted, turning her head away as if she didn't want to show any more weakness. Evan knelt beside her and slowly unhooked the core device from her belt. It buzzed angrily in his hand, sending small shocks through his fingers. He sat on the floor and opened his small repair kit. Whatever survived the fall. Most tools were cracked or bent, but he still had a few working ones. Good enough. He took a deep breath and began. Rakara watched him with half-open eyes. Sometimes her hand twitched, like her body wanted to attack him out of instinct, but then she would wince and clutch her chest, showing she didn't have the strength. After a minute, Evan spoke softly. "Why were you after me?" She didn't answer. Her jaw tightened. "You said you'd crush me," he continued. "But when you found me, you didn't attack. You cornered me instead. Why?" Rakara closed her eyes briefly, like the question was harder than the pain. Her voice came out low. "Humans? Carry micro-energy cells." "Needed one." "For the core," Evan blinked. "You mean the small battery pack I repair equipment with?" She slowly nodded. "So you wanted my tools, not my life." Rakara didn't reply, but her silence was an answer. Evan kept working quietly. The core's energy pulses grew calmer, but the cracks were still leaking. He could only stabilize it for a short time. Maybe minutes. Maybe an hour if he was lucky. Suddenly the bunker shook again. Harder this time. A deep rumble rolled beneath the floor. Akara pushed herself up with her elbows, wincing. Storm, not normal. Something woke. Creatures outside. Evan froze. "Creatures?" She pointed toward the sealed door. "Beasts follow energy. They smell weakness. They come." Evan's stomach tightened. "So we're trapped." Rakara gave a tired smirk. "Yes, you fix core. Or we die from blast, you fail. Creatures break in first." Evan sighed. Great choices. He went back to the core, hands moving faster now. The lights flickered again, and he felt the floor vibrate like something large walked above them. Dust rained from the ceiling. For a moment, he forgot Rakara was watching. His hand slipped, and he hissed in pain as the core shocked him. Rakara's arm shot forward and grabbed his shoulder, not hard, but steady. "Careful," she growled softly. "If you die, I die too." It was the first time she sounded almost human. Evan nodded and returned to work. After a few tense minutes, he flipped a broken metal plate, reconnected 2 wires, and sealed the crack with melted scrap. The core's blue sparks slowed. Rakara sat up fully now, breathing heavy but looking more alert. "You did it?" Evan shook his head. "Not fully. This is temporary. The core is stable for now, but it will break again unless I get a new energy source." Rakara frowned. "How long?" "Maybe 1 hour," Evan said. "Maybe less." The alien girl lifted her huge body and leaned against the wall. The strength in her arms returned little by little, but she was still far from normal. Her voice grew firm. "Then we leave soon. We get what you need." Evan pointed at the storm outside. "We step out there and the creatures will track us." Rakara looked at the shaking door, her eyes glowing softly. "They will come anyway." Evan felt a chill rush through him. She was right. They weren't just trapped. They were being hunted. The bunker's metal walls shook again, louder this time. Something scraped across the outer surface, making a long, sharp sound like claws dragging over steel. Evan felt the noise crawl straight down his spine. Rakara reacted instantly. Her body stiffened and her glowing eyes narrowed at the door. "They are close," she said, her voice low and tense. Evan tightened his grip on the half-stable core. "You mean those creatures you talked about?" Rakara nodded slowly. "Storm beasts. Big smell, big hunger. They follow energy, they hunt anything weak." Evan almost laughed from stress. "Perfect. We're weak, the core is weak, and the whole bunker is falling apart." Rakara pushed herself to her feet using the wall for support. Even unsteady, she towered over him like a massive living shield. But her legs wobbled slightly. She tried to hide it, but Evan noticed. "You shouldn't stand yet," he said. Her pride flared instantly. "I am a warrior. I stand." Her words were strong, but her body wasn't. She leaned forward too much, stepped wrong, and had to grab a pipe on the wall to keep from falling. She growled in frustration. Evan stepped closer, not scared this time. "Rakara, you're not well. Sit down before you collapse again." She glared at him, offended, angry, shocked he dared speak to her like that. But after a long moment, she slowly lowered herself to the floor. She clenched her jaw, trying to look fierce, but the weakness showed in her shaking hands. The sound outside grew louder. Something heavy slammed against the outer wall. Evan flinched. "We need a plan." Rakara pointed at the core. "You fix, I fight." "That is plan," Evan sighed. "I already told you. I can't fully fix it here. I need a rare mineral to rebuild the energy seal." Her eyes sharpened. "Where?" "Somewhere outside this bunker," Evan replied. "Maybe in the collapsed mining crater. My scanner picked up traces before I fell." Rakara inhaled slowly, like gathering courage. "Then we go." Evan stared at her. "You can barely stand. And outside there's a storm and monsters." She met his eyes with a strange expression, something between pride and fear. "If core breaks, I die. If we stay here, creatures break in and we die, so we leave." For the first time, Evan realized she wasn't fearless. She was cornered. Her strength looked huge, but inside she was just as trapped as he was. The bunker door shook again. A dent formed in the thick metal. Something roared outside, deep, hungry, echoing through the small space. Evan stepped back, heart racing. Rakara grabbed his arm. Her grip was firm but not painful. "Listen," she said quietly. "Human, Evan, I chased you because I needed your energy cell. I thought you would run. I thought you were weak." He raised an eyebrow. "And now?" She looked down for a second, something she hadn't done before. "You fix things, even when scared. You stay. You are not weak." Evan felt a strange warmth inside. The massive alien girl who threatened to crush him was now admitting he was strong. The situation was insane, but he couldn't help feeling a small spark of respect for her too. Another slam hit the door, this one stronger. Dust fell from the ceiling like rain. The beasts were almost inside. Rakara stood up again, shaking but determined. "When door breaks, you move behind me. They will smell my sickness first, not you. I block them. You run." Evan grabbed her arm. "No, if you fight in this condition, you'll die. We need to escape now, together." Her eyes opened wider, surprised at his boldness. "Together?" she repeated softly. "Yes," Evan said firmly. "You protect me. I fix your core. We survive by helping each other." Their eyes met for a long, silent moment. Then Rakara slowly nodded. The metal door screamed under the pressure as claws tore through it. A bright flash of lightning lit the bunker from the outside crack, showing the silhouette of a huge creature. No more time. Rakara grabbed Evan with one arm and pulled him close behind her. With her other hand, she lifted a broken metal panel like a shield. "Run with me," she growled. The final slam burst the door open, and a massive storm beast roared into the bunker. Its eyes glowed red and its fangs dripped with steaming saliva. Rakara took a deep breath, her voice strong again. "Human. This is where our alliance begins." And with that, she charged forward. The storm beast's roar still echoed through the bunker long after Rakara and Evan escaped into the harsh storm. The wind hit them like burning sand, fast and sharp. The sky above wasn't a real sky, just thick clouds of dust swirling like a giant angry whirlpool. Lightning flashed in silent bursts, lighting up rocks, old machinery, and broken towers like ghosts of the moon bases past. Rakara walked in front, taking heavy steps. Her legs still shook, but she didn't let herself fall. Her large frame cut through the storm like a living shield. Evan followed close behind, breathing hard, his hands gripping the half-repaired core. Every few seconds, Rakara looked back to check if he was still there. She didn't speak, but her eyes were different now, not angry, not wild, almost protective. After what felt like forever, they reached the edge of the mining crater. The ground dipped sharply, revealing broken rails, fallen rocks, and old mining machines half buried in dust. Evan wiped sand from his face. "The mineral should be down there," he said. "If it hasn't been destroyed." Rakara didn't move immediately. She stared into the crater like it was hiding a memory she didn't want to touch. Evan noticed. "What's wrong?" She didn't speak for a long moment. The wind howled around them. Finally, she exhaled slowly. "This place was where my clan fought." Evan blinked. "Your clan? You never said anything about them." Rakara lowered herself to sit on a large rock. Even sitting, she looked like a mountain, but her shoulders slumped a little. "They left me," she said softly. Evan frowned. "Left you, why?" Her jaw tightened. "I lost control." The wind blew dust across her face, but she didn't flinch. "My strength is not normal. Too much, too heavy, too wild, it grows and grows. I try to control it, but sometimes it breaks me." Evan listened carefully. She continued. "We were fighting another alien clan. I tried to protect my people, but my power exploded inside me. I crashed into them, hurt them. They said I was a danger, a failure." A small crack formed in her voice, small but real. "So they abandoned me here, on this moon, to die alone." Evan lowered the core, staring at her. For the first time, he didn't see a giant warrior. He saw someone broken and struggling to hide it. He stepped closer. "And the core?" Rakara touched her chest lightly. "The core slows the sickness. It holds my strength back, but it is cracked. Without the mineral you search for, I lose myself." Evan swallowed. "That's why you came after me. You thought humans had something to help." She nodded slowly. "I scared you." I shouted, because I didn't know how to ask. My clan never listened. They only wanted a perfect warrior. Her eyes flickered, glowing weakly. "I am not perfect." For a moment, the storm seemed quieter. Evan knelt in front of her. "Rakara, you're not broken. You're just hurting. But you're fighting it. That matters." She looked at him with confusion, as if no one had ever spoken to her like that. He smiled nervously. "Plus, if you were perfect, you wouldn't need me. And I'd be dead already." A small, breathy sound escaped her. A laugh. A real one, deep and warm, but it didn't last. A sudden rumble shook the ground beneath them. Evan grabbed a rock to steady himself. Rakara stood fast, but her eyes widened as she looked down into the crater. From the darkness below, dozens of red eyes glowed back at them. "Storm beasts more than before," Evan whispered. "They followed us." Rakara took a step forward. "No, they followed the core. It is calling everything that senses energy. Your repair made the signal stronger." Evan's heart pounded. "So if we don't get the mineral soon, the core will explode," she said. "Or the beast will tear us apart first." Lightning flashed again, showing the shape of the biggest beast climbing the crater wall. Rakara placed a huge hand on Evan's shoulder. Strong, steady, human. "Do not be afraid. I will fight. You must get the mineral. Only you can reach it." Evan shook his head. "I'm not leaving you alone." But she leaned close, her voice low and intense. "If you stay, we both die." Below them, the beasts roared together, a terrifying chorus. The crater trembled. Rakara lifted a broken mining shield and tightened her grip, ready to face the monsters despite her weakened body. Her glowing eyes burned with fierce determination. "Go, Evan," she said. "This is my battle." And with that, she charged down the crater wall, roaring louder than the storm itself. Evan had no time to argue. Rakara was already sliding down the crater wall, her massive body kicking up dust as she charged straight toward the swarm of storm beasts. Her roar echoed through the crater like thunder. Even injured, even weak, she moved with a warrior's fire. Evan gripped the cracked core in both hands. The device buzzed louder now, unstable and angry, pulsing with blue light that flickered faster every minute. If he didn't find the mineral soon, the core would break completely. And if the core broke, not even Rakara's strength would save them. A storm beast leaped at her, claws wide. Rakara raised the mining shield, metal screeching as claws scraped across it. She twisted and slammed her shoulder into the creature, sending it rolling across the rocks. But 3 more beasts jumped forward. Evan hesitated, heart pounding, but he remembered her words. Go. This is my battle. He forced himself to move. Evan ran along the crater's edge, searching for a path down that wouldn't get him killed instantly. The wind pushed him sideways and dust stung his eyes. He slipped once, sliding down a steep patch, his knees scraping against rock. But he kept going. Behind him, Rakara fought like a creature born for battle. Her massive fists pounded the ground, breaking rocks. She grabbed a beast by its neck and threw it into another. But he could see her body trembling. Every movement cost her strength. She wouldn't last long without the mineral. Lightning flashed across the crater, lighting the broken mining machines. One old drilling rig had collapsed into a narrow pit. Evan's scanner beeped weakly in his pocket. The mineral was down there. Perfect. And also terrifying. He crouched at the edge of the pit and peered down. The hole wasn't deep, maybe 12 feet, but it was tight and dark. At the bottom, he could see faint blue crystals glowing like tiny stars. The mineral he needed. He took a breath and jumped in. The landing hurt his ankles, but he didn't stop. He knelt and began breaking off the crystals carefully. They felt warm in his hands, humming with energy. Exactly what the core needed. A loud crash shook the pit. Evan looked up, and his blood turned cold. One of the beasts had broken away from Rakara and found him. It crawled down the crater wall, sniffing the air, its red eyes glowing like burning coals. Its jaws opened slowly, showing long, dripping fangs. Evan pressed himself against the pit wall. He had nowhere to run. The beast jumped, and a massive blue arm slammed into it from the side. Rakara. She crashed into the pit with the beast, her weight shaking the whole ground. Dust flew everywhere. The beast snapped at her face, but she grabbed its head with both hands and twisted. A sharp crack echoed through the pit. The beast went limp. Rakara collapsed onto one knee, gasping hard. Her armor flickered weakly, energy lines dimming. The core's missing mineral was destroying her strength minute by minute. Evan rushed to her. Rakara, are you okay? She gave a weak smile. Still alive, human. He held up the handful of glowing crystals. I found them. Her eyes widened. Not with anger, not with pride, but with something new. Hope. But above them, more beasts were crawling toward the pit. Too many. Too fast. Rakara tried to stand, but her legs shook violently. Evan grabbed her arm to help, though she weighed more than 3 times his weight. You go, she said sharply. I stay, I hold them off. No, Evan shouted. I'm not leaving you in a hole to die. She stared at him with disbelief. No one in her life had ever spoken to her like that. He tightened his grip. We climb out, together. For a moment she said nothing. Then she nodded once. They moved fast. Evan climbed first, using broken metal pipes sticking out of the wall. Rakara followed behind, her fingers digging into the rock like claws. When she slipped, Evan reached down and grabbed her wrist. Her massive weight almost pulled him down, but he held on. Slowly, painfully, they reached the top. But the storm beasts had formed a circle around the crater. Rakara and Evan stood back to back. She lifted the broken shield with shaking arms. Evan clutched the mineral crystals in one hand and the damaged core in the other. Our way out? He whispered. Rakara's eyes glowed brighter for a moment. Through them, Evan swallowed. Great, the beasts lowered themselves, ready to strike. The storm roared above them, and the two, one human, one alien giant, prepared to fight side by side. The circle of beasts tightened around Evan and Rakara. Their red eyes glowed in the dusty air, and their bodies moved with slow, hungry steps. The storm above them raged louder, lightning flashing like white fire. Evan held the crystals close to his chest while Rakara lifted her battered shield, her body trembling from exhaustion. A low growl rolled across the crater. They are waiting, Rakara whispered. For what? Evan asked, trying to control his shaking breath. She narrowed her glowing eyes. For one to strike first. Then all will attack together. Evan swallowed hard. That's terrible. Correct, she answered. Before the beast could jump, Rakara grabbed Evan with one arm, her strength returning in small bursts, and pushed him behind a tall slab of fallen metal. Stay hidden, she growled. Evan shook his head. Rakara, do it, she shouted. She stepped forward, spread her legs to anchor herself, and roared at the beasts with everything she had left. Her voice thundered through the crater, shaking the dust from the rocks. The beasts answered with their own roar, a terrifying sound that echoed through Evan's bones. 3 of them lunged first. Rakara swung the shield with brutal force, smashing the first beast aside. She dodged the second by twisting her heavy body, but the third landed straight on her back, claws digging into her armor. She growled, dropped to one knee, and slammed her back against a rock, crushing the beast between stone and her enormous weight. Evan peeked from behind the metal slab. She was fighting with pure heart, but her movements were slowing. Her breaths were heavy. The core pulsed wildly in his hands, warning him that time was running out. He couldn't let her fall. "Rakara," he shouted. "Come here. I need to fix this now." She looked over her shoulder, breathing hard. "You cannot fix it while beasts attack." Evan shook the core in the air. "If I don't, it explodes, and we both die." For a brief moment, Rakara hesitated. A beast jumped toward her, but she struck it away with the last of her strength. Then she stumbled backward, dragging herself toward Evan, one hand pressed against her chest where the core belonged. She collapsed beside him. "Do it," she whispered. Evan didn't waste a second. He ripped open his repair kit, placed the mineral crystals beside the core, and started working. His hands moved fast, almost shaking. Rakara watched him through half-open eyes, her breathing shallow. "Evan," she said softly, "if this goes wrong—" "It won't," he interrupted. Her lips pulled into a small smile. "You trust yourself too much," he smiled nervously. "Someone has to." He slid one of the glowing crystals into the center of the cracked core. It fit perfectly. The device reacted instantly. Sparks danced across its surface like electric fire. Evan connected 2 wires, tightened a metal plate, and sealed the casing. The core glowed bright blue. Stable and strong, energy pulsed through the bunker, washing over them like a wave. Hakara inhaled sharply. The glow in her eyes grew brighter. Her breathing steadied. The golden energy lines along her arms lit up again, flowing with renewed strength. "It worked," she whispered, amazed. But then, a loud beep, beep, beep echoed from the core. Evan's eyes widened. "Wait, that's not me. That's a beacon signal." Rakara's face lost all color. "No. What does it mean?" Evan asked. She stared at the glowing core, fear swirling in her expression. "My clan," she whispered. "The core is linked to them. When restored, it sends a signal." Evan frowned. "So they know where you are now?" "Yes," she said, voice shaking. "And they will come." Evan stepped closer. "Isn't that good?" "They can help you." Rakara shook her head violently. "They did not leave me because I was dying. They left me because they feared me." She clenched her fists. "If they come now, they will kill you. And they will take me away to finish what they started." Evan felt a cold wave in his chest. "They'd kill me just for helping you?" She nodded slowly. "You touched their sacred core. You repaired what only a warrior class is allowed to touch. They will call you a threat." Evan stared at her. "Then we run." Rakara stood, stronger now, her height towering and her muscles glowing with renewed energy. She looked at him with something like gratitude and fear. "We cannot run," she said quietly. Above them, a bright red light cut through the storm clouds, descending fast. A ship. Her clan's ship. Rakara stepped in front of Evan, standing like a mountain between him and the sky. "Evan," she said, her voice deep and steady, "if they threaten you, I will fight them." Evan's heart raced. "Rakara, that's your family." She shook her head, eyes burning fiercely. "No, you are the one who saved me. You are the one who stood beside me." The ship landed with a heavy crash, shaking the ground. Rakara growled and lifted her fists. "Human, stay behind me. This time I protect you." The red ship landed with a crash that shook the entire crater. Dust shot into the air like smoke from an explosion. Evan shielded his face with his arm, while Rakara stood tall in front of him, glowing with the renewed strength the repaired core gave her. She looked powerful again, strong shoulders, bright eyes, steady breathing. But there was a new fear inside her eyes that had nothing to do with beasts or storms. Her clan had come. The ship's doors opened with a sharp hiss. Dark shapes stepped out, tall warriors in heavy armor, their weapons glowing with red fire. Their leader walked in front, wearing a long metal crown shaped like sharp claws. His voice echoed across the crater. Rakara of the fallen strength. You signal us again. We expected your death. Rakara's jaw tightened. I am not dead. The leader tilted his head. A disappointment. Evan stiffened. Rakara's hands curled into fists. Another warrior pointed at Evan. A human? Here? He stands behind you like a protected cub. Explain. Rakara moved instantly, stepping to block their view. He repaired my core. Saved my life. Several warriors hissed in disgust. A human touched the sacred device? That is a crime. He must die. Evan felt heat rise in his throat. His legs suddenly felt weak. But before he could step back, Rakara spread her arms slightly, forming a barrier between him and the warriors. No, she growled, her voice deep and shaking the air. He will not be harmed. The leader's eyes flashed. You choose a human over your clan? Rakara breathed slowly, gathering courage. He helped me when you abandoned me. He stood by me when you left me to die. He saw my weakness and did not run. The leader's voice sharpened. Weakness is shame. Evan felt anger burn inside him. He stepped forward, placing a hand on Rakara's arm. She isn't weak. She's stronger than any of you. Rakara's eyes widened. She hadn't expected him to speak. The warriors reacted instantly, raising their weapons. Rakara growled and pulled Evan behind her again. The leader turned toward her. You protect him, truly? Rakara straightened her shoulders. The storm wind whipped her hair around her face, but she looked unshakable, like a force of nature. Yes, she said firmly. I protect him. He is my ally. The leader stepped forward. Your mind is broken, Rakara. You claim loyalty to a creature of lesser strength, a human. Rakara roared so loudly the ground vibrated. Strength is not only in muscles. The crater fell silent. Even the storm paused for a breath. Rakara continued, her voice trembling but powerful. Evan risked his life for me. He held my weight when I fell. He fixed the core that keeps me alive, and when monsters came, he did not run. She slammed her hand on her chest. He is brave. More than any of you. The leader raised his spear. Enough, you have chosen an outsider. You have lost all claim to our clan. Step aside or be struck down. Rakara didn't move. Instead, she planted her feet in the dust and lifted both fists. If you want him, she said, voice cold as steel, you will go through me. Evan's heart clenched. He felt a mix of fear and pride. Deep, overwhelming pride. The warriors charged. Rakara roared and met them head-on. Metal clashed. Energy flared. The ground shook from the force of each strike. Rakara fought like a storm, fast, wild, unstoppable. Evan watched in awe as she blocked a spear with her forearm, spun, and smashed the attacker into the ground. But she wasn't fighting to prove power. She was fighting to protect him. The leader rushed forward, spear burning with red fire. Rakara blocked the first strike, but the force made her stumble. Evan saw her knees buckle. Rakara! He shouted. She looked back for half a second, and the leader struck. Evan didn't think. He moved on instinct. He grabbed a broken metal pipe from the ground, ran forward, and slammed it into the leader's arm. The hit wasn't strong, but it distracted him. Rakara surged up with a roar and punched the leader across the chest. His armor cracked. He flew backward, rolling across the crater floor. Silence. The remaining warriors froze. Rakara panted heavily, glowing energy pulsing through her arms. She walked to the leader, who struggled to rise. She grabbed his spear, snapped it in half, and threw the pieces aside. Then she pointed at Evan. He is under my protection, she declared. Anyone who touches him becomes my enemy. The warriors lowered their weapons. The leader bowed his head, defeated. Then you are no longer part of us. Rakara lifted her chin. I know. The ship doors opened again. One by one, the warriors boarded, leaving the crater quiet and empty. The ship lifted off, disappearing into the stormy sky. Evan slowly walked to Rakara. Her massive body shook with exhaustion, but her eyes were warm, softer than he had ever seen them. You chose me, he whispered. She knelt slowly until she was closer to his height. You saved me first. I repay my debts, Evan smiled. That's not the only reason. Rakara looked away, embarrassed. Something very unusual for a giant warrior. She gently lifted him onto her shoulder, supporting him with one strong hand. Come, Evan, this moon is no longer safe, but wherever we go next, I will walk beside you. The storm quieted as they left the crater together. a human and a 330-pound alien girl, bonded not by fear or strength, but by the courage they found in each other.